The first season of the Pretty Little Liars reboot was quite the journey, with the character of A hunting the girls down. Some moments reminded us of past events, and then there were some characters who returned to the show. We are looking at you, Dr. Ann Sullivan. Even though A was given the death penalty, it did not mean the end of the worries for the girls, with Bloody Rose popping up with her crazy lore. The writers have hooked us with this new slasher in town, which looks like the perfect combination of every slasher from cinema history. However, one of the most significant things about this character is that there is a lot of mystery and unexplained behavior surrounding her. Let's look into Bloody Rose and connect our dots to find who she might be and why she is targeting the liars. Before we go into our explanation, we have a very small request. If you like our content, please support us by subscribing to our channel. This is a small click for you, but for us, it means a lot. Thank you. Let's begin. Who is Bloody Rose, the new slasher in town? Pretty Little Liars has always had a weird connection to the works of the 90s, like I Know What You Did Last Summer or Texas Chainsaw Massacre, but it never really went that brutal in terms of the murders or other gruesome elements covered in the stories. This time around, we got to witness a murderer who is quite similar to Rubberface, or even the characters of Midsommar. The scary aspect of the killers from the 90s was their masks and silence and the lore surrounding them, and all these elements are covered with the new murderer in town, Bloody Rose. Her face is heavily bandaged with some sort of tape except for the eye, which is left uncovered. Even though some of her skin is left exposed for the victim to see, even this skin is burnt and severely damaged. The wrapping itself looks like it has been drenched in blood, as if it is covering a lot of her open wounds as the blood trickles down her neck and further drenches her clothes. From what one can gather of the locks of hair sticking out of the stitches, a thorn is sticking out as if it goes all around her head. With a burgundy dress torn and tattered in places, she wields a blade, her weapon of choice. On her first appearance, fans instantly linked her to A, the antagonist from the first season of the reboot series, even though A's identity was revealed by the end to be the secret son of Rose Waters and Marshall Clanton, and we also found that he was working with his father to avenge his sister's death. Bloody Rose's identity was never made clear in the entire second season. It was shocking to see that her goals were quite similar to those of A's, considering he appeared to be motivated to seek revenge for the death penalty of Archie Waters. Other characteristics also come very close to A, as she chases down her victims during the daytime, something most killers seem to avoid. To understand this character better, we have to trace her arc through the second season, following the events of A's hunt for the girls. Why is she hunting the girls? The first time we come across Bloody Rose is when Mouse Honrada dives into the true crime website SpookySpaghetti.com, something very similar to Reddit for the slashers. Here, she was busy finding details on Archie and the Millwood Massacre. People wrote stuff here religiously, as if they knew these theories to be accurate, and even mentioned details about the events that are not supposed to be known by anyone but the victims of the murders themselves. Yes, they also had some profiling done for the slashers and other individuals involved in the Millwood Massacre. Ever since the incident, the girls had been haunted by A, and they were still working on letting go of this gruesome event from their memories. But something or the other continued to keep the fear. Mouse was obsessed with the Spooky Spaghetti website, and one fine day, her obsession led her to a horrifying detail, as she found that her and her friends' identities had been shared online, along with photos amongst the people who survived the massacre. But it only gets darker when the images of Bloody Rose Waters, the mother of Archie and Angela, pop up at places all the girls have connections to. Now, we dive into another one of the theories that horrified the family's lore. According to the theory, Archie had skinned his mother's face to stitch it together and make his mask. It was supposed to be her punishment for keeping him locked up in a cage for years. While this theory puts some messed up details to the lore of this family, another one suggests that summoning Bloody Rose is quite similar to the process of summoning the likes of Bloody Mary, or Candyman, or even Beetlejuice. She will show up if you take Bloody Rose's name 5 times while looking in the mirror. Later, the girls try out the ritual in the girls' room of Millwood High, but nothing happens until Michael, the janitor, shows up. Yes, it was intended to be a jump scare. Meanwhile, Mouse's obsession takes a whole new turn when she cancels date night with Ash to go to Bloody Rose's shack, which was mentioned on the website. She lies to Ash, saying that she has the inventory to do, but when she reaches the new woods and looks for the shack, along with Noah and Faran, Ash pops up and confronts her for lying to him. The two discuss it and conclude that she needs to ease her obsession with the website. even though it almost felt like the very first victims of Bloody Rose were almost on the way to her shack. The first victims only showed up later, around the end of the episode. It is announced that A has been given the death penalty, which is a sigh of relief for the little liars, because he could have been sent to a mental hospital instead. On the night when the girls find out that they are going to have to attend summer school because of their poor academic performance, the Bloody Rose will get to show how gruesome she can be. But then we need to talk about how ruthless the school people are, because they were aware of what the girls went through and still decided to push them towards summer school. That night, Sabrina Hooper and Nikki Brody go to Bloody Rose's shack based on what they found out about her. As they look for her, they don't see her and make out after discovering she isn't there. But it seems like she was only waiting for them to get busy with each other as she emerges from behind them and stabs them to death. Again, Bloody Rose went low for a while, but continued to haunt the girls by scaring away their relatives. For example, Lola shrieked when she saw someone standing outside their house, who Mouse later confirmed to be Bloody Rose through the photos. This event confirmed that Bloody Rose might be a true story because a solid presence had been indicated. Even though Imogen had been chased by Bloody Rose before at the bus stop, she was already taking medication for the entire ordeal, and she didn't believe that she was real. Viewers might have noticed that all these things started happening since the girls tried the ritual to summon her. Ever since the ritual was used, she started popping up everywhere and started killing the kids one by one. Sandy turns out to be her next victim when she waits for the scene partner, Greg, who cancels at the last minute. Bloody Rose attacks her from behind and then continues to stab her as she falls to the ground. While all this is happening, we see some exciting developments in the relationship between Mouse and Bloody Rose. It appears that Bloody Rose has quite a good response regarding her IT department, as Mouse gets an unknown call from someone while she is going through Spooky Spaghetti, but then it turns into a video call from Bloody Rose, and when she picks up the call, there is a distorted voice on the other side. Thinking it might be a prank, Mouse asks who it is, only to hear that Mouse knows who the person is. Finally, the woman warns her to save her breath because she will need it. We almost get a scream-like revelation on Bloody Rose when Tabby starts interacting with Christian after failing to explain what happened with her and Imogen through the short film. She looks for a chance to get into a film school. Then she comes across Christian, another film lover, to a much more gorier level than Tabby herself. When she goes to his house, she discovers the mask of Bloody Rose and Archie, and she almost suspects that Christian might be the murderer himself. Even though it is evident that he isn't Bloody Rose himself, there is a chance that he has been helping her in the various ways that she terrorizes her victims and scares them. But that's just a theory amongst the numerous other theories that suggest a probable explanation for Bloody Rose's bizarre ability to punish the girls and get away with it. Remember, in the previous season, A primarily targeted the liars, and everyone else who died was supposed to be collateral damage. In Bloody Rose's case, things are way more gruesome because she has been killing other innocent people apart from the liars in quite a brutal manner, which also indicates that the liars aren't her only targets. One of the significant parallels between Bloody Rose and A's work on their victims is visible when we examine Noah's case. When A was trying to catch her in the previous season, we saw her being forced to call out on her mother for stealing the drugs. In a very similar manner, Bloody Rose blackmailed Noah to bring her to the woods by threatening the lives of the people around her, which could be either Jen or Sean. Luckily, Jen pops up and saves her before the dog Bloody Rose releases her could do anything to her. Right now, we get that beautiful show of Bloody Rose as the light comes off from behind her. Surprisingly, the final girls, our liars, managed to survive their tests, as if it was somehow intended to be this way. Bloody Rose did give them tests, but each of them managed to make it out before they could be killed like the other victims who were murdered. By the way, fans of the Saw franchise cannot deny that these tests were somewhat similar to his means, even though the traps were much more accessible for each girl. After all, they managed to survive. But again, the fingers point at Christian. Did he design these tests for Bloody Rose? It could be anyone now. Even though Dr. Sullivan is on the list of candidates, she became completely weird when it turned out that she used to record her patients, which is illegal. Her explanation of writing a book about the girls is not a strong reason for this invasion of privacy. Miss Beasley also makes it to the list of suspects, with her want for her daughter to remain a virgin, which is somehow related to the fact that Bloody Rose has only been targeting victims who are not virgin. We can only wait and see if there's more to reveal, or if the creators will keep this one a mystery. Marvelous verdict. Pretty Little Liars is like a tribute to the genre of slasher horrors, and it has references that only hardcore fans of the genre can understand. Movies like Scream, Friday the 13th, and Halloween, amongst various others, serve as the source of horror material in the series, and they have indeed kept us hooked. Considering the creators of this reboot also worked on the Archie series on Netflix, it won't be surprising to see more twists in the narrative while exploring the Bloody Rose lore. comment if you think you know who is behind the Bloody Rose character. This would also be the perfect time to revise your slasher horror films. And if you liked our content, don't forget to leave a like and subscribe to us if you haven't already. Have a good one and be safe. Thanks, everyone.